Welcome to the Midwest Horror Network's October 2020 special, Part 4. On October 4th, this year we are going through every Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode there is, and today we are going over the Season 5 episode, Simpsons Treehouse of Horror 4. With me, as always, are Mark,
David,
and
Zach.
I didn't get to introduce myself.
Nope.
Every time you introduce yourself, it goes from what should be a one-letter word to, so this is the story about my life. I'm Mark Conway. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Italian. I love selling sales because sales are sales.
Right. Well, before we
Just go right through that. Yep, no, I'm good.
Before we continue, you can sell your soul to us by clicking that like and subscribe button if you haven't already.
Saw what you did there.
Yep. And without any further ado, let's get into it.
He made a funny.
So this is the fourth Simpsons Halloween special.
That took place in Season 5.
Yep. Well, the first season didn't have one. So.
How dare they?
So a very basic opening for this episode. We just have some gravestones. I think this is the last episode that has the funny gravestones.
I think they did a pretty good job with the gravestones this
Yeah,
one.
we
It's not the
had-
funniest, but it is okay.
Yeah, there was
We're
like Elvis, Accept It,
yeah, Elvis.
A balanced budget.
Balanced budget, subtle political satire,
And TV violence.
which gets shot up and bleeds. And then
Oh, yeah,
for a
it's
little
pretty
couch gag, we just have zombie Simpsons come up from beneath the ground and sit on the couch and watch the TV. And then we're into our wraparound story. I mean, it's even a story. It's more like just a wraparound. Just a wraparound, really.
It's like a
Yeah.
presentation of in a painting room or whatever.
Yeah, it's actually a parody of a Rod Serling show called
Night Gallery. I was thinking it was Night Gallery.
Yeah. Which I've
How
actually
many shows did he have?
Night Gallery and Twilight Zone are the two big ones. He's written a lot of other TV, but as far as like horror anthologies go, those are the two.
Steven Spielberg directed a few episodes of Night Gallery.
Yeah, I think that's where he got his start directing.
Yep.
Really?
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yep.
Really?
That was after
I thought he was a stowaway in a Universal office.
He did that, and then he kind of hustled his way onto the set, and then they ended up like cutting a deal with one of the execs to direct a few episodes of Night Gallery, and he was like 23 at the time, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. So yeah, we have Bart introducing our stories Night Gallery style. He has a painting to represent each story. But before he goes into our first story, Marge tells him that he should warn everybody that this episode is scary and violent or whatever, and tells him to watch after Maggie while she goes to the gift shop. And he introduces our first story with a painting of the devil, which brings us to our first story, The Devil and Homer Simpson. Mark, tell us about The Devil and Homer Simpson.
That was
Oh,
mine.
There
David?
was that
All right.
but I think Marge's warnings have kind of fell on deaf ears at this point.
It's been
Yeah.
like that for a while. I've
The,
noticed. For
like-
Did anybody ever take those warnings seriously, though?
No.
Yeah,
and-
no, not at all. Not
No.
at all.
It's like, if you're going to watch these, you're clearly not watching it for a safe space.
At this point, I don't think this warnings are even supposed to be serious. They're just having fun with it, like they did it the
Yeah.
first time, and then after that, they're just having fun with it.
It's more like an obligation. It's like, look, we
it's like
warned you. If you try to sue us, we're going to tell you to go fuck yourself. All right?
I think at this point, it's more like the
more like
King and
sticking it to
Kodos
them.
thing, where they just do it every year, and it's not supposed to mean anything. If you do take that warning seriously, then something's wrong with you, not with them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's going to be graphic? Oh, we should turn this off and go watch Teletubbies.
I don't think Zach gets it. I don't think he gets the subtle political satire there.
What is satire?
I rest my case.
Is that what it
Tell
means to? Is that what it means for hip to be square?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, David.
Yes. Well, we start out at a fashion show where the models are donuts. It's kind of weird. We obviously realize that Homer is daydreaming at work.
Sexy donuts.
Kinda obvious on that.
That is Homer's sexual fantasy.
Yeah. Donut models.
The
Donut
raspberry
models.
cream.
Yeah, donuts actually are pretty sexy.
The
Chocolate with sprinkles. That's a
spoils.
sexy donut.
Spoils.
But yeah, he's obviously daydreaming at work at the power plant. Realizes the box of donuts in front of him is empty, and he's having a panic attack. But apparently, Lenny and Carl threw the remaining donuts at Grandpa Simpson. So he's outside running from birds.
Because reasons.
Dude,
Because of
that's
reasons.
still one of my favorite running jokes. I'm not dead yet.
So he's running through the drawers in his office or whatnot. And he finds a book. I guess it's supposed to be like a stash of donuts or whatever. And there's a note in the book saying that, Dear Homer, I owe you an emergency donut. Sincerely, Homer.
Bastard. He's always one step ahead.
Just fucking weird. Oh yeah, and then he's like, oh man, I need a freaking donut. And he's like, I'll sell my soul for one. And then the devil Flanders appears and is like, girl, look, I'll take that deal. And,
Flanders, you're the devil? Yeah, it's always the one you least expect.
it was fucking,
Yeah, that was pretty great.
I love when they use Flanders like that.
Flanders
Yeah.
is really like one of the best characters in The Simpsons.
Yeah, because they
So
use
ridiculous.
him in that kind of
Jesus
way.
is watching.
He definitely had his
Genius.
moments in the first 2 segments of this episode.
Yeah. But yeah, Smithers and Mr. Burns are watching on security cameras, and Burns is like, Smithers, who's this goat-legged man here? That's Prince of Darkness. You're 4 o'clock.
Oh yes, he is.
So, and then Flanders appears this really nice freaking donut. Or there's this like, I guess one of his minions appears with a donut in a silver platter. So it's like, oh, if you eat this whole donut, your soul belongs to me. So Homer eats most of it. And it's like, wait a minute. If I don't eat this last bite, it means you don't get my soul. He's like, well, yeah, I guess so. And he's like, I'm smarter than the devil. And he, becomes this freaking huge thing. He's like, no, you're not smarter than me.
Oh, the animation on that was
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
awesome.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, there's a lot of really great animation in this episode, I thought. Especially
Yeah.
with a lot of the facial expressions and some of the characters.
Yeah, especially with this first segment.
Yeah. Or like later on when Homer's brought down to hell, just like the use of color and
Yeah.
like, when he's dropping down.
Yeah. But, so yeah, he puts the rest of the donut in his pocket and saves it for later, I guess. Then we're back at the Simpsons' home. He's sleeping. He wakes up for a like midnight snack or whatever, and goes through the fridge, scouting whatever's in there. So there's a plate with the leftover donut with a whole bunch of Post-it notes saying don't stop.
eat Daddy's soul donut.
He obviously, ignores all that and eats it, and Flanders appears. It's like, yes. And tries to take him to hell, and the Simpsons come running down. It's like, what's going on? It's like, hey, doesn't he need a trial first before you can take him? And Dad's like, God damn it. It's like, you Americans in your trials, this was
Your
easier
due
in Mexico.
process.
This is easier in Mexico. Or is it like, I didn't have to deal with this in Mexico?
Yeah, he said this is always so much easier in Mexico.
But yeah, it's like, all right, you get your trial tomorrow. And it's like, but Homer, you're spending the night in hell. So he opens a portal and he gets stuck, obviously, and then kicks him down to hell. And then that's when you see all these little beautiful colors.
Yeah,
He's
and
falling down.
the weird little demons and
Yeah.
devils, and he gets chopped up, put into hot dog meat.
Yeah, he's like in a conveyor belt where he gets chopped up, and parts of him actually go for hot dog meat.
And then there's the ironic punishment division.
Oh yeah, it's trapped or like tied down, and they're force feeding him donuts, but it's like not really a punishment because he's like,
it's all the donuts in the world.
Yeah.
Force fed to him 4 at a time, continuously.
it's just like more, and then the minions just like, I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's like by the end of it, he's like super fat.
Yeah,
He's all happy. He's wobbling around like, woohoo! More!
yeah, he's
Give me more donuts.
I think McFarlane Toys actually made like an action figure set out of the ironic torture
really.
scene. Yeah,
Oh shit, nice.
yeah.
I would like to see
That's one of my favorite gags in a Treehouse of Horror episode.
that one.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh yeah, so it's trial day. Homer appears in this flame cage, basically, with his head kind of popped off, where he has to put it back together like a Lego piece. And then Flanders appears like, and then what's the attorney's name?
Lionel Hutz.
Lionel Hutz. There you go. It's so fucking stupid. It's like the worst attorney you can freaking ever have. Just no idea what he's doing, but he's apparently appointed. Was he hired by the Simpsons?
Yeah, he's the Simpsons. He's the best they can afford.
Yeah, well,
That checks out.
yeah, you get what you pay for on that one.
Gotta have
Yeah,
piss
he's there-
breaks every half hour.
Yeah, he's their attorney. Yeah, making deals with Ned Flanders. Like, yeah, we get to have a 30-minute like bathroom break or whatever, and that's
Bathroom
like
breaks every half hour.
yeah, it's like I agree, but I get to pick the jury. And he's
Agreed.
like, agree.
No, wait.
Stupid. He's like, all right. So here we go. We got was it Benedict Arnold?
Benedict Arnold,
John-
Blackbeard, Lizzie Borden,
Yeah.
John
Nixon.
Wilkes Booth, Nixon, John Dillinger.
John Dillinger.
The starting lineup of the 1976 Philadelphia
Flyers.
Flyers. Which that got a laugh from Mark.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
sports fans will understand.
Yeah, you
that
have to be a
reference.
hockey
Everybody
fan in
else
order
that's
to get
gonna
that
fly
joke.
over their
Yeah.
fucking
Mark, would you like
heads.
to explain it?
It's actually really simple. They were incredibly brutal team, and they're actually famous for a giant fucking brawl that they
Yeah.
had back in the 70s. It's a brawl that's famous in hockey. Like
That's weird.
That's how brutal it was. The
have
that
to
particular
check that
lineup in
out.
the 70s. And back then, they were all like alcoholics with day jobs. Like being a hockey player wasn't a full-time career. Like you went and played, and then like you got paid a little bit of money to travel, and then the rest of them they were carpenters and construction workers. The rest
Yeah,
of the
in
year.
the
So it's
70s,
literally
yeah.
like a bunch of blue-collar guys that got together and got paid no money and got to beat the shit out of each other in hockey, and they were called professionals back then. So yeah, the Philadelphia Flyers were incredibly famous for a very, very brutal brawl that happened in the history of the NHL, and that's why that's funny.
Oh yeah. Also, I think Nixon is one of the juries.
Yeah.
And he's not even dead yet.
I'm not even dead yet.
He died soon after this, though. I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
Oh,
It was pretty
oh
close.
really? Oh shit.
He's like, you owe me a favor for that thing I did for you that one time.
Yes, master.
Yes, master.
Trial doesn't go obviously Homer's way, and his attorney's like, yeah, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick, and 10, 20 minutes later they go check on him, and he actually ran out the window and left. It's like too much.
And then the jury's getting ready to decide that Homer's soul belongs to the devil.
Yeah, and then Marge brings the photo album, and like that in particular is like from our wedding. It's like, you got married in the emergency room. It's like, yeah, but check the back of it. And it's like, Marge, you're basically giving Marge his soul for her hand in marriage. So they decided that his soul belonged to Marge and not the Ned Flanders devil.
Yep.
So
And the judge agreed.
Yeah.
And jury went away, but the
But
devil had one
other
last thing
ideas.
to do.
Yeah, basically turned Homer's head into a donut, and then the next morning they're at breakfast and Homer's like picking at his head, eating his. But I'm so sweet and tasty. And Marge is like, stop picking at
And
yourself.
then the best joke.
The best joke in
of
the
the last
end.
of the
Oh,
3
God.
episodes happened.
Yeah, it's like, all right, I'm gonna go to work, and then Bart and Lisa are like, Dad, I don't think that's a good idea. And then, like, right in front of their guard is the whole police department with a cup of coffee in their hands. It's like,
Don't
"Oh,
worry,
don't
boys.
worry."
He's got to come out sometime.
Awesome.
And yeah, that was that episode.
I really
Yeah,
like
that
this
was
one.
pretty much it. Yeah, I like this one. This is my favorite.
I actually really like all three of these. Yeah, I think this one was a really good one. Whenever I think of Treehouse of Horror, Ned Flanders' Devil is always like one of the first images to come in my mind.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
There's certain episodes, and certain segments that I remember too. Like I'm pretty sure we're gonna get to the, groundskeeper Willie as a Freddy, which
Yeah.
is one of my favorites.
That one's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
But yeah, this is really enjoyable. Mark, Zach, what did you guys think of this one?
I liked it. There was a few like good bits. I was entertained. I was entertained when the bits happened.
Then they did their job.
I appreciated the Flyers joke. And it's a very specific joke that a lot of people would not understand. It was fine. Like, it was fine. I seem to have enjoyed overall, and obviously we'll talk more about this when I get to the end of this stuff, but I liked the last episode of Treehouse more than I liked this episode. So I don't know. This episode had some good stuff for me, but for overall, it wasn't the best. But this episode in particular was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed some of the jokes that were there. And of course, I always like it too when these stick the landing with one last really good joke. And the first episode definitely stuck the landing with one really good joke at the end, and which I appreciate because that's kind of what you tend to remember when you're talking about this. You tend to remember that last joke, at least for me. I don't know if that's the same for everybody. But
That was a consistent episode.
But yeah, I think it was fun. It was a fun episode.
I think there's a lot of animation to like here. Flanders as the devil is, of course, really good.
One of my favorites.
When he first shows up in the kitchen and Bart shows up. And
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Bart.
That was
Hey.
that was a good subtle joke.
Oh, hey, Bart.
Hey, Bart. Hey, what's up?
Like Mr. Burns is like, who the hell is that? It's like, that is your 4 o'clock.
It's Prince of Darkness. I'm probably somewhere in between David, in between you and Zach on this one. I'm very in the middle. Some really, really
Mark,
good.
That would be a threesome.
The little good high points, but overall, it was.
And I still think it's impressive that they got a full beginning, middle, and end in 7 minutes that they have to do a segment.
Yeah. There's something to be said
because
about that.
that is one thing to remember about these Treehouse episodes is you can't expect the development of a 22-minute episode when they have to divide between 3 stories about 7 minutes each.
I think they did a good job.
To actually get a good structure, beginning, middle, and end, some good jokes. I think that's a really good Treehouse of Horror segment if they're able to do that.
Fair enough.
I agree.
So next up, we have Bart back at the Night Gallery, introducing a picture of a school bus. He thinks something's wrong. It must be the ghoul bus, but no, Lisa corrects him. Says right there, school bus. Well, there's nothing scarier than having to go to school. And Bart is just defeated, and this brings us to our second segment, Terror at 5.5 feet. Zach, tell us about Terror at 5.5 feet.
Well, not to be confused with what? Terror at 5,000 feet?
Nightmare at 20,000 feet.
Nightmare at 20,000 feet. There you go. You're the Twilight Zone expert. So, yeah. This is clearly a knockoff or a very heavily inspired by Terror at 20,000 feet.
Nightmare at 20,000 feet.
Nightmare at 20,000 feet. Thank you.
If you don't like it, it's a knockoff. If you like it, it's a parody.
True.
That's a good way to look at it, Mark.
Damn marketing
That was
logic.
Brandon's assessment of Joker. It's either an homage to Taxi Driver or it's a ripoff of Taxi Driver, depending on how you feel about it.
Yeah. To make this very simple, instead of a plane, it's a bus, and instead of wow, I cannot remember his name now.
William Shatner.
Thank you,
Yeah.
William Shatner.
In the episode, it was William Shatner. In the movie, it was John Lithgow.
Yeah, I know more people are probably more familiar with the episode. So instead of William Shatner, it's Bart.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It wasn't bad. He starts off, he's having a nightmare about the bus crashing head on into a truck because the wheel just kind of falls off out of nowhere. It's like, holy shit, what the fuck? Bam, dead. Wakes up, he's terrified for some reason, which that just doesn't seem like Bart to me.
Okay.
That was the big thing. I'm like, just that seems out of character for him, but whatever, regardless. Continuing on with the story. He's terrified. Every little thing just kind of makes him go, huh! But fucking Homer walks in because he decided to explore a marina for some reason. He has fucking life vest and a bullhorn. It's like, what the fuck were you doing over there? He's terrifying the shit out of Bart, blowing it off in his ear, and he's just like,
Dude, that wouldn't be the first time that Homer was a dick.
Yeah.
It won't be the last either.
It's
No.
fucking Homer. Anyways, so he's on the bus, and Lisa decides to announce Bart had a bad dream. Everybody be super nice to him. Everybody starts giving him shit. It's like, why the fuck would you do that to your brother? You're an asshole.
Jimbo even pulls down his shorts, but at least that brought attention away from Martin's shirt.
Oh, God. What the fuck was it?
Wang Computers.
Wang? Oh.
Wang.
Yeah, Wang. Not Wayne. Not Wang Computers.
Which that was a thing, I believe.
Oh, for the love of
Really?
Christ.
Holy shit.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
I'm sure that wasn't a practical joke of a company. But anyways, so yeah. he's sitting next to Milhouse on the bus or whatever, and as he looks out the window, he sees a little gremlin. The gremlin's starting to tear the side of the bus piece by piece. Brett starts losing his shit. Everybody thinks he's insane. Skinner's just an asshole. He's just like, you might be telling the truth, but you're still disrespectful, so fuck you.
Now, why was Principal Skinner riding the bus?
Oh, because he tried talking to a girl and his mom took away his keys because he's a little bitch.
She was right to do it.
God. Skinner, you are something else, dude.
The ultimate mama's boy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Anyway, so yeah, the whole thing just keeps progressing until it gets to the point where the gremlin starts trying to take the back wheel off the car. Brett, he looks down and there's flares for some reason on a school bus. Is that normal?
Emergency flares.
Still, is that normal?
They wouldn't be where the children sit,
Yeah.
but they are on the buses, I believe.
They are.
Okay, I had no idea they kept emergency flares on buses, especially school buses.
And
like,
I don't know
under
if
a
they still
child's
do,
seat.
but I mean, it's like if something happens, like I don't, because I mean, school buses are used for more than just bringing kids to school sometimes.
Yeah.
And,
I've only been on city school buses, and I mean, the only time I ever took a school bus was on a field trip or
You
something.
can
but
rent, I mean, we can
I never
essentially
saw
rent
a
one.
box of emergency flares just sitting around, so I'm like, all right, that's interesting.
Dude, first time
Yeah,
I ever
it's-
saw that was in Jeepers Creepers 2.
Oh,
They
yeah.
had flares in there.
Oh, they did?
That's how the gym
remember that
teacher
part.
ate it.
yeah, especially with an elementary school bus, probably not a good idea to put them like under a child's
Hey, I'm
seat.
just like, this, who? Okay, whatever. But anyways, Bart opens the emergency flare box, and they're not there. They're in what's-his-name's underwear.
Martin.
Martin, yeah, they're in Martin's underwear because
They
the
were
dude with
really
the
going
beam-
after him that day for the Wayne computers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there's two lit ones. Bart takes out one of them. The other one falls off. He puts it right back in Wayne's underwear. He opens the window. He screams. I forgot what the hell he screamed or whatever, but everybody starts... Oh, no, wait, he didn't scream. He opened the window, and it acts like a fucking airlock.
Yep.
Everybody's trying not to get sucked out of the window. I'm like, you're not... But that's not how physics work.
Dude, the funniest thing that was the bus driver came
Yep.
to the back in the middle. He's like,
Oh, he's just
Yeah,
like,
when he
I don't
first
see any
screams that there's a
gremlin.
monster.
Who's driving the bus? Oh.
No,
Give me 1 second, little dude. It's like, the fuck?
It's
Okay.
all casual, but just give me a second.
Oh, we forgot when Bart first saw the gremlin, and he goes up to Otto and says, "There's a gremlin on the side of the bus."
Oh, yeah,
Oh, that's
and there's
right.
the AMC gremlin driven by Hans Moleman, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." He just rams it, goes down a hill. Oh no! I
I
just made my
just
last
finished my
payment.
payment on this
And then
thing.
it just stops, just like an inch away from a telephone pole,
And
Pause,
explodes.
explodes.
It's like,
Fucking
Which,
weird.
because why not?
yeah, well, I mean, this was
Simpsons.
seasons 5 and 6, where the showrunner was a man named David Merkin, and
Merkin.
his 2 seasons are just full of jokes that are he just goes against what you expect in every way.
Fair enough.
Like there's one of his episodes, Itchy and Scratchy Land, when they're driving and Homer's falling asleep at the wheel, and Marge says, "Homer, you should pull over." And he says, "I'm not tired. I'm not tired at all." And then it cuts to the next thing, you see this car just kind of swerve off, hit a telephone pole, blow up, and then just the camera pulls out and you see the Simpsons in a motel room watching it, and Bart's just like, "Whew, glad that wasn't us." So it's a whole lot of jokes where it's like you think it's going to be one thing, but then it's something else.
Awesome.
Zach was over there like appreciating that joke, like appreciating like a fine line or fine photo. He's like, yeah.
You're gonna
like
see
that.
you're gonna definitely see Merkin's humor a lot in the next Treehouse of Horror.
Nice.
Merkin.
Nice.
But anyways, so he fucking throws the flare at the gremlin. The thing ignites, falls off the bus, lands on Flanders' windshield. Flanders, of course, being the religious whatever he is, runs out of the car. Oh, look, it's a little monster. He wraps it in his sweater. Was it a sweater or a blanket?
Blanket, I
blanket.
think. Yeah, it's a blanket.
And then the monster swipes at him. Oh, he's trying to claw my face. Oh, fucking Flanders. Anyways, so the bus pulls over in front of the school. Everybody gets out, looks at the side of the bus. It's torn to shreds. It's like, huh, well, I guess Brett was telling the truth. Then Skinner turns around as Brett's in a straitjacket being hauled off by...
I'm sorry, Brett.
Oh,
Yeah,
Brett.
you've been calling him Brett or Brit, I think.
Have
a few
I?
times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
We thought we would just let you go until you corrected yourself, but you know, it hadn't happened, so we figured we'd jump in right now.
Sorry. Bart. Jesus Christ. Bart is just being hauled off in a straitjacket on one of those tables that, you know, usually psychos and insane people get torn off of. Skinner goes up to him. You may have been telling the truth, but you were still rude. Maybe
A
life
lifetime
inside
in, the
of...
night, in that house will teach you some manners.
Yeah, it's like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, apparently his behavior was out of line still.
Yeah, you know, even though he
It was the 90s.
essentially saved everyone's life.
I mean, like, was it Skinner who touched the bus and then everything just freaking fell
Yeah.
apart?
Yep. Wheel flies off, the bus collapses. Well, shit. But yeah, Bart's in the back of the truck now. He's just like, I could finally rest. Then a little gremlin shows up with Flanders' head. Hey, Bart!
Yep.
It's like, all right.
Bart screams, end of story.
Actually, I think my favorite part of that segment was aliens show up, Kato,
Oh, yeah.
and
We
then
forgot
Gremlin
King-
shows
King
up on their...
Bonus.
That just felt like it was forced in there. It's like, oh, fuck, we got to give these guys a cameo. Here,
I
shove
thought
them
it
in!
was funny.
Shove them in!
But that was funny. Because the Gremlin showed up on their spaceship and just started ripping. I was like, oh,
Humans
crap.
are being bothered with an imaginary creature.
Shows.
Oh shit!
Look outside the window. Stop! Stop!
Yeah, I think that was my
and
favorite part.
I think I'm probably the one who's most familiar with the Twilight Zone episode, the adaptation of the Twilight Zone movie, and I've also read the original short story as well. And they did a really good job at this one. Like Bart was out of character with his nervousness at the beginning, but that is part of the actual story. So I really do think they went above and beyond to not only parody this story, but stay true to it. And I think it was a lot less stiff than the similar approach that they took with King Homer in one of the previous Treehouse of Horrors. Because King Homer felt like they just took they wanted to replicate shots from King Kong.
Yeah.
And there was a story, and I do still like that segment, but it just felt very, this is going to happen, then this is going to happen, then this is going to happen. Whereas with Terror at 5.5 Feet, they still hit all the beats of the story, and there are even some visual references as well, like when he opens the blinds in the window and he sees groundskeeper Willie there, and Willie just does that little head tilt. That's the same kind of head tilt that the gremlin does in the episode. And then when they try to restrain him and his eyes are just bugging out, that's a direct reference to the John Lithgow version in the movie, directed by George Miller, who did the Mad Max movies. So yeah, they did a really good, and the gremlin in this episode is definitely modeled off of the gremlin in the movie as well, instead of the giant teddy bear that was in the original.
So this looks more like the movie version?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure because I've never really seen those, either the movie or the show. So.
Oh, you need to see them. It's
some point I
one
will.
of, if not the best episode of Twilight Zone.
So I've heard.
It's one of the ones
It's definitely
I
the most
remember.
famous.
One
Yeah,
of the,
it's absolutely the
it's
most
up there.
famous.
Yeah, because like I said, even though I haven't seen it, I still know about it. It's
And
been
then,
referenced a billion times over.
Yeah.
And actually, the version in the movie is closer to the original short story because of one major thing. And because in the episode, he's traveling with his wife. In the movie, he's by himself. And in the short story, he's by himself. But yeah, all four versions, the short story, the episode, the movie, and the Simpsons spoof are all fantastic. And this one also had a lot more tension than jokes. And that's another thing about David Merkin is he felt the Halloween specials should be both funny and scary. And I think this one hit that, at least in this episode. I think this is the one of the three that hit that
If you have
the best.
anxiety, definitely don't watch that.
Yeah, you do feel Bart's anxiety. You do get some laughs in there. You get the horrifying headless Flanders at the end.
Oh yeah.
That was actually pretty good.
I
It
enjoyed
was
it.
good. It was
I
good.
enjoyed it.
I enjoyed the few jokes. I think again, like a baseline for me is like this one was good with some very good jokes. It was almost like literally like some of it was flatline for me, and then it would go up with a really good joke, and then would come back down. Like it wasn't like consistently here. It wasn't consistently down here. It was very consistently in the middle with some very good spikes and some really good fucking jokes.
Yeah, I think all three segments are kind of like that.
Yeah, like I think it's
Out
very
of
consistent.
curiosity, Zach said he hasn't seen any version of the original story. What about you guys? Have you guys ever seen the Twilight Zone?
I have
episode
seen
or the
clips
movie?
of that.
Parts of it as well.
Clips of the Twilight Zone only. I have never
Okay.
seen anything related to the film.
So I'm the only one that's ever seen a complete version of the pre-existing story in
Yes.
any
Yes,
form.
sir.
Okay.
And I guess to add a little bit more onto why I think most of these episodes were boring to me, I'm not a big Simpsons fan, let's not forget.
True.
So it's like, unless it's going to do something to really, like, wow me, I'm just going to be like, meh.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's actually
Fair.
that's a legitimate thing.
And
I've
casual fan.
and I've kind of very been much a casual fan. Like I would actually probably even say less than casual fan. I mean, I've like Family Guy always took my interest.
Same. Family Guy has always been...
And so for some people, like, that's not the thing, but, like, Simpsons, I've caught a few. Honestly, the most Simpsons I've watched is since you and I started being friends, Brandon.
Out of curiosity, has Family Guy ever done any kind of Halloween special? Like,
So every now and then Family Guy does do Halloween-themed episodes, and they're funny.
Okay.
I think honestly, one of their funniest ones was, I'd say maybe 5-6 years ago, where Stewie actually experiences his first Halloweens, like 8 or 12 seasons into it. He looks outside.
yeah.
All right,
That's when he loads the M16.
No. So he looks. It's just like, Brian, we're being invaded by a bunch of terrorists and a Mexican princess. It's like, what? As he's shooting outside with his M16, I'll send you demons back to hell.
But I think
Stewie, what are you doing?
They're just kids. I think a lot of this too is like is that that type of entertainment, adult animation, was it was kind of introduced to me via The Simpsons, but it never stuck with The Simpsons. Had I stuck with The Simpsons, I probably would have been my thing. I think a lot of people either choose between, at least of our generation, South Park, Family Guy, or The Simpsons. I know those are very, very different. Like you probably get Simpsons on the lighter end, Family Guy in the middle, and South Park being just the filthiest of all.
I would say, when it comes to South Park, I feel like most people, like they may be bigger Simpsons or bigger Family Guys, but most people genuinely love South Park, regardless of whether or not you like Simpsons or Family Guy.
What's so funny?
I know more people who have fallen off of South Park than have fallen off of Simpsons or Family Guy.
That's interesting.
maybe.
I've always felt Family Guy has been pretty much consistent for me, with the exception of the later seasons.
I would say the first 8 to even 10 seasons of Family Guy are the golden age and are timeless. I can go through
Rewatch those.
and laugh. Oh my, they're amazing.
Family Guy is very consistent for me with like with very high points. Like the Simpsons and the South Park are on the lower band of spectrums. However, when South Park and The Simpsons get to me, they really get to me. Brandon has shown me some bits from The Simpsons, and I go, oh, shit.
South Park's the best though. It's one of my favorites.
I think we got a pretty good, like, Zach and I are probably Family Guy.
Yeah.
David's more
South
South
Park
Park,
number
and then
one.
David
Simpsons.
is absolutely the South Park guy, without a shadow of a doubt.
But
But I will say this about South Park. I don't think The Simpsons has anything that's like, oh my god, that's fucking like laugh out loud hysterical or whatever for me. But South Park, fucking James Cameron's the greatest pioneer. That's all I'm gonna say. Greatest song in history. I love it. I want it on vinyl.
Yeah, I think I stopped watching The Simpsons around like the 12th season. I think I like.
Yeah, there was a dark period of The Simpsons, I will say.
Times.
That's probably when I stopped watching, but like.
But there are some gems in recent seasons. Like nothing that hits the height of the golden age, but there are some that I do really enjoy. Like one from this most recent season that I really enjoy. Actually, two that I really enjoyed from this most recent season are the one where Bart sees their version of Avengers Endgame a month early before everybody else.
You showed me that.
Yeah.
You showed me that. That was actually funny.
And he like blackmails everybody. Is like, give me all this stuff, or else I'll spoil the movie.
Simpsons gonna get actually
Which-
dark.
The thing that got me about that episode, and the reason that I actually do think that is a pretty good episode, is because of Homer's reaction. For the first time in history, he's the only one with common fucking sense.
Yeah, leave it to Homer to have common sense for once.
It's just like, don't spoil the movie. You know what's gonna happen.
Let me guess. The good guys win. How did you know?
Because it always happens that way. But yeah, that's definitely my thing with The Simpsons.
And then another one from this season that I really like. That was actually better than it had any right to be. They did a Thanksgiving of horror. where it was like a Treehouse of Horror, but with Thanksgiving stories.
Yeah, you showed us that, didn't you?
I don't think I did.
Simpsons?
No, not yet.
And it was so much better than it had any right to be. It was actually a little longer than their normal episodes too. It was by only like 2 or 3 minutes. But like the first segment is a spoof of Apocalypto, but they're turkeys being hunted by pilgrims. And it's actually like, and they're not speaking, like they're gobbling, like gobble gobble, like turkeys. But you still know exactly what's going on. It was so bizarre, but so good. And then there's another, then the second segment is Marge gets an artificial intelligence kitchen that becomes
Yeah.
self-aware.
I think I've seen this one.
And
God.
that one actually gets surprisingly deep with its philosophy on artificial intelligence.
Wow.
And then the third one, which I think is the weakest, is a spoof of Alien, but instead of an alien, it's killer cranberry sauce.
That just sounds lazy or just too random.
Yeah, I mean the first 2 segments were really good. The third one was serviceable for what it was, but overall it was so much better than it had any right to be. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a bonus episode on that episode.
Well, I always love things that don't have any right to be. You know, they have every right to suck, but they don't.
Yeah.
And props to them for trying.
The
So any last thoughts about Terror at 5.5 feet before we move on?
nope, just what I said.
Enjoyed it. I was entertained.
Yeah.
They did their job.
He was entertained.
I was.
David was entertained.
Yeah.
I was moderately entertained with some very good high
Yeah.
points.
Actually, I am curious. Like maybe, I don't know. I kind of feel like later when we're all done with these Treehouse of Horror episodes, maybe I'll show you guys the Twilight Zone episode and the movie, and then rewatch just that segment and see if your guys' opinion goes up or down any.
I don't know.
I think you're right about that.
well,
'cause
I mean,
especially with like
yeah.
the King Homers. I wasn't really a big King Kong fan, but
I was gonna say that. I was gonna use that example. It's just look at the King Homer episode. We
Yeah.
were bored because it was almost an exact rip-off of King Kong, just
But-
way more boring.
but I did
Whereas I
appreciate
think this
it.
one did a lot better because you don't have to have seen. If you did not see King Kong or are not familiar with the shots from King Kong, a lot of King Homer is going to be lost on you. Whereas I don't think you need to see the pre-existing stories for Terror at 5.5 feet. But if you did, I think your appreciation would definitely go
With
up.
it being an animation, I did appreciate them,
Yeah.
actually going the black and white route, which is
Yeah.
kind of ballsy for animation.
That would never happen today.
Yeah.
Well, never say never.
I was gonna say, don't say it would never happen because we got a crappy A24 film that was shot in black and white, or developed the look, whatever you.
We do not talk about it.
Zach, you know the rules. It's still business
Not in this
hours
house.
right now.
Yeah, it's 5:15.
The
All right, so back to the Bart Simpson's Night Gallery. He's introducing a terrifying painting, dogs playing poker, which causes Homer to go mad. And they had a story written for that, but they said it was too scary, so they threw something together with vampires. Bart Simpson's Dracula. Mark, tell us about Bart Simpson's Dracula.
I just want to point out it's literally exactly what he said. It did feel like it was thrown together with vampires. Fuck it, just throw together something with vampires.
let's take every vampire stereotype and put it all together. Sure. This is mostly a Lisa story. I guess she figures out that that Mr. Burns is a vampire, basically literally Dracula, and
Yeah.
they
Modeled
get-
off of the
Bram
Gary
Stoker.
Oldman.
correct, very Goldman,
Which
The-
has always been such a weird fucking design to me. That hair.
It was
That is
I've
a weird
never
design.
Which they even
understood
call out
that.
in this episode.
That's one thing I'm glad. It's just like, why?
Is that the one with Keanu Reeves?
I'm very disappointed
God.
that Keanu Reeves didn't make like some kind of cameo within this. That
Well,
is-
this was
that is
before
a-
everybody was literally just
This was
obsessed
before
with
the
Keanu Reeves.
Renaissance.
God, his accent and the
Just-
that's a whole different
just
thing.
Like, whoa, you're Dracula. That's crazy.
It's exactly
Whoa.
exactly that.
The
Let's move on.
let's move on.
It's a different kind of red pill.
Oh God,
Jesus Christ.
let's not get into this. It's gonna give me a major headache.
fucking like people are gonna end up like those Shrek videos, except it's Keanu Reeves.
I actually enjoyed the film. Besides that,
It was a good movie.
it was a good movie. but I
Keanu
could
Reeves
not
was a
stand it.
miscast, but it was a good movie.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, so they all get. I guess Mr. Burns through a business purchased a giant blood bank, and then Lisa figures out that he's a vampire Dracula, and then says, that's crazy, Lisa. And then they all get invited over to Mr. Burns' house at midnight, and are all asked to wash their necks. And
His country home in
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Dude, and I went. I think I went. I like. Oh. I think Zach and I both had a sigh at the same time. We just. Oh God.
It was great, and you know it.
It was not, sir. It was a bad dad joke.
Exactly. It was a dad who said it.
Yeah.
Forget Brandon is the king of dad jokes. He loves them.
Oh, absolutely love him. Not even a dad either. Anyway.
Not
Not
yet.
that you know of.
Okay.
Now it's just weird. Now it's awkward. So anyway, they all get invited to Mr. Burns' house, and then they all get served a bunch of blood. Homer is completely unfazed by this because it's free. Because he's a cheap bastard. Which
I'm surprised Zach didn't get a reaction from that. Because that's what he would have done.
Here's the thing. I agree with it, but just the presentation, I'm just like, I don't know why this isn't funny. And I actually said that in my head when I saw that part. I'm like, this should be funny, but it's not.
Oh.
That's the really funny part to me. It's just like, why the fuck is this not funny? I love this joke. But Homer saying it is just not funny.
This is how.
God damn the Simpsons, dude.
Do you think it might just be something wrong with you?
No, I'm perfectly fine.
Of course not. Anyway.
Why would there be something wrong with me?
So Bart and Lisa go wandering around the castle. They find Mr. Burns' little lair down in the basement with a bunch of different things. Bart, being Bart himself, finds a lever for the fun slide.
Super fun, happy slide.
Super fun, happy slide as they're all running away from,
the
from
army of vampires.
The army of vampires. And Bart, of course, gets taken. He's now transformed into a vampire. And then he comes back to the table, and then Homer's like, he's clearly fine, so that's not a big deal. Lisa is cut back to Lisa, who's having a nightmare, wakes up in the middle of the night, and then all the kids are flying next to the window, much like Lost Boys or Little Vampire. And they say, "Come with us, Lisa. You get a free soda if you tell people you're a vampire at the local movie theater," which I appreciated. So Lisa says, "Oh, we have to go and kill the lead vampire." Oh, and of course,
Before that, Grandpa runs
Simpsons
in.
has the best joke, and everything else. We must kill the boy.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, because he's a vampire. It's like, what? He's a vampire? Tries to shit and runs out. Grandpa Simpson seems to have all the best jokes in these episodes. He's the silent killer when it comes to the good jokes. And then also Lisa did have a good joke after that. They open up Mr. Burns' coffin and he starts nailing into him, and Lisa's like, "Dad, that's his crotch." Sorry. Oh, sorry.
I like how they didn't wake him up either. He's just getting nailed in the dick, and it's just like,
nope.
You didn't feel that?
Nope. And then he comes up, and then he kind of fades, and then he comes back and says, "You're fired," and then dies again. And then mission accomplished. They kill Mr. Burns. And then they all are sitting around the family the family breakfast table the next morning or something, which I don't know what meal they're consuming. If it was breakfast, then that would be kind of odd, considering vampires shouldn't be up in the middle of the day. But I'm not going to start questioning the logic of a simple Simpsons bit. They all get up, and then they figure out that, in fact, spoiler alert, Mr. Burns is not the lead vampire. It's actually Marge. And she says, "I do have a life outside of this house," which is pretty funny. And then they go ahead and somehow they say Happy Halloween and then break into our Charlie Brown
Christmas
bit.
special.
Charlie Brown
bit.
Christmas bit.
Annoyed the shit out of me.
And then,
this has no place being here right now.
And then once again, like the Pennsylvania joke, I went, "Oh, okay."
I kind of like that.
That felt like a Hail Mary attempt for a last minute, just like, we're funny. It's like, really?
Remember, we're funny.
You didn't see that coming, did you? I don't think anybody wanted to see that one coming, dude.
But okay.
Try again.
But okay. And I think I'm pretty much the same way about the rest of this episode. They had a couple really good bits that I enjoyed, but for the most part, it was very much of a flat line of moderate entertainment. I had a couple really good jokes. The Grandpa Simpson joke was great. There was a couple vampire jokes. The slide joke was funny. And the secret passage joke was pretty funny. They opened up the secret chamber and it was a laundry room.
That's that Merkin humor right there. You think it's gonna be the secret tunnelway, but no, it's the laundry room, and then they just see the neon signs, vampire secret hideout.
No garlic.
No garlic. And a couple really good bits, but besides that, it's pretty flatline for me, for the most part. Like the rest of this episode, I think there was some more.
Like I'm trying to wrap my mind around this. Where you're calling it a flat line, but it has moments where it's like the kind of point of a flat line is that it's flat.
Dude, it's literally
so it's like you're describing like a flat line. It goes up, then a flat line goes up. So it's like but by definition, if it's going up with parts of entertainment and laughs, it's not a flat line.
So it's like if they hooked up a dead body to an EKG machine, and every once in a while gave it a fucking zap, and then it went up. Like that's how I felt about it.
It's more flatline than it is beats.
Yeah, sure. And I thought that there were previous episodes that had more to offer than this particular one. The last two I enjoyed far more than this one particularly.
I'm confused. Last episodes or last segments of this
segments. The last segments I enjoyed more than I enjoyed these three segments. So, I mean, and I imagine that's exactly what's going to happen. There's going to be, I think I said that on the first episode. There are going to be some that I'm going to really like, and there's some that I'm just going to be dislike, and there's some I'm going to be kind of like okay about. This happens to be one of the okay ones with some really good moments sprinkled in. But for the most part, it was okay.
Still not as bad as The Raven.
Not as bad as The Raven, but...
Fuck you.
Yeah!
Yeah.
The very, very...
I don't give a shit when anybody says that episode was fucking terrible.
Oh, it was terrible.
The Raven's going to go down as our most divisive, I think.
Yeah.
That and the Howling. But yes, overall, this particular segment, and it has the same feeling that I have about the rest of the episode, that there was a moderate entertainment for the most part with some very good bits, and I would dare to say some really good bits sprinkled in.
Yeah.
But like they were far and few between enough for me to notice. Like the previous episode, there was enough of really good bits, and they were close together that like it seemed like a perfectly consistent episode of good shit that was being put into that episode. But again, some of them I'm going to be okay with, some of them I'm not going to like, and other ones I am going to like. It's just the nature of the beast. We're doing 31 of these. That's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. Not all of them are going to be winners. Not all of them are going to be stinkers.
Exactly. And some of them are going to be right in the middle.
Yeah. Bart Simpson's Dracula. I thought this one is definitely the weakest of this episode. Like I said, the first two, I think, had a very good beginning, middle, end structure, where this one kind of just fell off at the end.
And the beginning kind of too.
It took them a little bit to get to where they were going. But
Yeah.
there's some really good animation in this, a lot of memorable imagery, like the Mr. Burns Dracula, I think is one of the most memorable redesigns in these Treehouse of Horrors. And the way they animated his shadow, just a little out of sync with his. And even that one part where the shadow does the yo-yo.
Or after he got staked and he just came back, it's like, you're fired.
And of course, Bart, Milhouse, and the other kids floating outside Lisa's window. So there's some good animation. There's some good imagery. Not every joke lands. And like I said, structure-wise, it does kind of fall off at the end.
Yeah, with The Simpsons, you're just going to have to give and take with the jokes. Sometimes they're going to land, sometimes they're not.
Yeah. But overall, I do still think this is a good one. Overall, I do think, taken as a whole, I think this is one of the better Treehouse of Horror episodes. But yeah, if I had to pick a weakest one, it would be Bart Simpson's Dracula from these three.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Zach, have we gotten your thoughts on Dracula yet?
Meh.
All right.
More meh.
And of course we end on the whole Charlie Brown Christmas thing. Santa's little helper dancing like Snoopy, and we have Milhouse at the little piano. So yeah, I think we're ready for our sort of wrap up for the episode. Do we have a pick for funniest moment?
Donut Head.
Yeah, Donut Head was pretty
Don't
great.
worry,
Yeah.
boys. Hilke's got to come out sooner or later.
Yeah.
The,
That was very funny.
Absolutely the funniest moment of this episode.
Yeah.
All of you were Donut Head?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that one.
I think the first bit for me, it was the Donut Head. Second bit was the one with Otto, who's driving the bus. Oh no, I'm sorry. That, and then also the Gremlin. With I just paid this car off, and then it explodes. And then the third bit was obviously Grandpa Simpson with coming in and saying like, we must kill the boy.
Yeah, that was my second favorite.
Yeah,
The
so-
third one was
He's a
the-
vampire?
I think the third for me was the Gremlin on the spaceship.
Yeah. My funniest moment was the ironic punishment department. I just can't say no to that.
Yeah.
I love that gag. I love the image
Homer
of Fat
eating
Homer
donuts.
just continuously eating donuts, not being fazed by the
Yeah.
torture.
She's immune to the torture.
How did this happen?
Is there any picks for? Are there any picks for scariest or creepiest moment? Even if it's just like an image,
Let's see.
a facial expression, moment of music.
That Gremlin was pretty creepy.
The Gremlin.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Gremlin's
he's
creepy,
pretty
and
creepy.
obviously too like the whole thing with Flanders' head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Gremlin and that.
It's definitely cool. I mean, that'd definitely be for the creepiest moment right there.
Ned's head.
And Ned's head.
Zach.
Squirrels.
If you have to pick something,
Damn it.
even if you have to really reach,
Really funny. Wood's burning there.
do you want me to go over mine while you think of yours?
Please do.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, mine's between either Ned's severed head or that shot of like the vampires ganging up on Bart when he falls down the slide, and then Mr. Burns comes in. I thought that was a good moment of tension. Because and it's like I said, David Merkin thought the Halloween episodes should be both funny and scary, and I think Ned's head is a perfect image for
Yeah.
that philosophy right there.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to default to Ned's head because why not?
Ned's head.
Ned's head. All right, everybody votes for
creepy.
Ned's head.
Eh, not really, but
Ned's head
I mean,
and Zed's
out of
dead,
everything
baby.
that you saw there,
sure.
it's probably the creepiest.
It's gonna be the new pop band. Ned's
Picks
head.
for the worst segment. We all know mine is Bart Simpson's Dracula.
I'm gonna have to agree with Dracula. That wasn't.
Probably.
It was the least entertaining for
Like-
me.
Like that's the thing. It really is a flat line for me. So they're all equally as bad and or good.
I think it's just.
I'm gonna go with that. I'm actually gonna go with episode number 2. The
Terror?
Yeah,
Really?
Terror. Like it was okay. At least there was more action. There's more something going on with all the vampires. I just thought there was a little bit more, and I just thought there was a little bit more. The I don't know why. It's not by much, but I don't know why I'm picking that one. I think it
Because
was
you have to be the odd man out.
sure, and it can't be you today, so I figured I'd join that club. The
he is the odd man out. We're all wearing black, and he looks like he's going to a tennis match.
This is true.
It looks like
I'm
he's
a
the
walking.
odd- he wants to be
Literally,
the odd man
I
out.
was rocking a grindcore at Kuma's, and I'm dressed like I'm going to the yacht club.
he's looking-
I'm a walking contradiction.
He's
It
looking-
literally looks like he walked out of a fucking what's it called, country club. It's like all he's missing is his golf clubs. It's just like I had a nice good field at the par today.
Dude, I would not be golfing.
He's looking
this.
for his Mrs. Robinson kind
The,
of look.
I mean, hey.
And finally, our picks for the best segment of the episode. Obviously,
Donut,
Devil and Homer Simpson for Zach,
just because of the donut.
just because of the donut.
Really, it.
Yeah, mine is obviously Terror at 5.5 feet. I thought it was a brilliant take on a classic story.
I'm gonna go with the number 1.
I like the first segment.
So it's 3-1 Devil to Terror.
Nice.
But again, we gotta watch the Twilight episode to really appreciate that segment.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
I do want to show you guys that episode, or even if you guys watch the episode on your own on Netflix. I think it's on either Netflix or Hulu,
The
maybe
flicks
both.
of net.
Yeah, I know it might be on a few streaming services now that I think about it, but yeah, it's I think if you watch that episode, I think your appreciation for that segment will probably go up.
Rock and roll.
That's it. So that is Treehouse of Horror 4. Join us tomorrow when we put up our episode covering Treehouse of Horror 5 from Season 6. Before we go, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Midwest Horror Network, as well as
Slasher.
And don't forget to check out our other podcast, the Nightmares Podcast, which is the official podcast of Midwest Horror Network. And Mark?
And of course, please check out our wonderful narrative series, Living Nightmares. We have 3 current episodes that are up right now, and with a 4th one very much on its way. So please check that out. And like Brandon said, like, share, and subscribe. Tell everybody about this so we can go ahead and do that. And then, of course, we do have a lovely donation type thing going on Anchor. All of your contributions directly support this podcast and all Midwest horror business and content. That if you could do that, that would be wonderful.
Merry Christmas, everyone.